Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. I'm here with the coach, John Brent.
I'm here with the vet, Ian Griffin.
We're at the Christmas tree jump talk.
At the Bachman Homestead.
Man, it's looking sharp
Can't
back
even
there.
see the top, can you? It's crazy. I think Linda's got about a 37-foot tree back there. I don't know how big it is.
You had to have a semi to bring that bad boy up in here. Oh my
yeah.
goodness. Man. So we're going to stay off the political side today, Coach. We're going to do something a little different. And
I like this one.
We're going to talk our
outta
top
here.
5 series, TV series that we've ever watched.
There we go.
And so
Yeah.
we got a few of them.
I have to say something. When we were growing up, this series, and we were talking about it this morning, it was Dallas and Dynasty and Knots Landing and MASH and something. You know, it was different. It was every week, you know, there was something new, and then when it ended, you would wait for the next year's series. Now things are a little bit different with the Netflix and the Hulu and things.
They want your money.
Where they'll post like 10 episodes at one time.
Yeah.
And then if you're like me and you're nuts and you like one, you watch them all in, 8 hours.
Yes, yes.
And it's over.
Yeah, that was a thing called binge watching. It's called take away your weekend.
Yeah,
is what it's
binge
called.
watching.
Or your nights, one of the two.
Yeah.
So my number 5, Coach, is MASH. And I'll just say this is, wow. When you really dig into MASH, I've been to Korea. They did their homework because the places they reference is historically correct. When they talk about going to Kimpo Air Base, that's really Kimpo Air Base. When they talk about going to Uijeongbu's really there. And it looks similar in things. They really did their homework on what they referenced in there. So I think I like it from the historical side. I also like it because it's one of the first series or movies or whatever you want to call them that kind of pokes that the military isn't always all serious and stuff. There's shenanigans that go on. That's very true. MASH is just a tip of the iceberg. I hate to say that on the shenanigans.
What's going on.
Yes. So anyway, that's
my dad loved MASH. It was something that him and a couple of his friends, they just loved, and they talked about it, and they referenced some of the sayings, and some of the people that were there, I can still remember their names because just hearing them, but. All right, so my number 5 is going to be something, I don't know if you ever even saw this, but Dexter.
My wife watched Dexter.
I watched Dexter a few years after it was out, but I watched it one summer break. It was the first year that I was a teacher the next summer where I've never had a job where you take 2 months and don't work. So I watched season 1 to, I think it was either 9 or 10 over about a 2 or 3 week period. And I was so into it. And I'm thinking at the last few episodes, I'm thinking, how in the world am I pulling for a psycho serial killer? But the only reason I kind of pulled for him because he was killing people that were considered maybe worse than him.
Bad people in society.
He was killing bad people in society.
Bad people in society.
So anyway, but Dexter was good, but the ending was terrible, and I wish I'd have never saw the first episode, so it was that bad of an ending.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So my number 4, and they're supposed to release the last portion of season 6, is the Vikings. As my wife calls it, the Vikings. And the Vikings. And actually her name's is Nordish and her brother's name's Nordish. But it's just a phenomenal series. And on the first 4 seasons, you're really tied into it. And then they whack off the main character. Sorry, just telling you. History's the way it is. He has to die because of how history is. But the main character really pulled a whole lot of weight in the show. And they kind of recover a little bit, but it's a phenomenal series about Ragnar, and his name was Ragnar Lothbrok, and Lothbrok meant that he had baggy pants, is what it was, because he evaded something, and they couldn't stick him because of his baggy pants, and so he got the name Lothbrok, which was kind of cool, and it's just it takes it to a whole different level. And for one thing, if anybody does any history on the Vikings, they're really not sure if Ragnar is a real person or not. They think he is. His sons were, but they think that the stories of Ragnar might be over 180 years, and it might be 3 people in there instead of just all one person, or they might have got their dates mixed up.
There.
Yeah, so it's pretty good.
Great. All right. So my number 4, and I was forced to watch this in the beginning. A friend of mine said, I kept on and on and on and on. And finally I was like, okay, I'll watch 2 episodes. Well, I watched 6 the first night. And it's Breaking Bad.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, my goodness. I got so into the show. I was so pulling for Walter. I'm sure most of y'all know that, Walter was a science teacher and
Yep.
found out he had cancer and he didn't have any money for his family. And so it's kind of a good guy thing. He decided, I'm a science teacher. I'm going to create the best meth around and get the cartel to sell it for me. And I'm going to take off. He had so much money. It was amazing. But Breaking Bad, to me, the way that it continued to go, I did not want it to end. And you knew it was coming to an ending. You could see it was coming. And it was like, what am I going to watch? Breaking Bad, number 4.
So my number, and I've watched some Breaking Bad. We just kind of stopped. My wife's watched it all the way through. I've watched, I think, the first season.
I don't know how you stop.
I had too many seasons going on, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I'm a person that can only do one season one series at a time.
Yeah.
So anyway, number 3 is The Sopranos. And let me tell you, The Sopranos, the first sequence of it, when he drives the car on the sidewalk, like at a college or whatever, runs him over for his darn money. Like, you owe me money, man.
Oh, yeah, you're going to get it.
Oh, man, I was hooked. And it was just a phenomenal show, and then one part in there where he's telling the dude, he says, dude, you know what that does to me? I got to kill you. You know how that makes me feel?
Yeah,
like
he's mad at
making him feel
you.
bad, And
Yeah.
it was just phenomenal. This is a great series. I was sad
Love
when it
The
ended.
Sopranos, yeah.
And it's a shame because there were some great actors come out of that. It's just a great show.
It really is. My number 3 is Ozark. And if you haven't seen it,
Yes.
you need to go watch it.
It's good.
It's crazy. This guy works for a little firm, a tax firm or accounting firm, and they have been hiding money, for the mafia, or not the mafia, the cartel. And one of the guys there is stealing. So there's this scene at the very beginning where they got them both out there and they're about to shoot both of them. And Marty's one of the guys. He's the main character. He shoots the other guy. Marty's like, hey, don't kill me. I've got this great investment. I can take your money and go to the Ozarks, and there's this lake, and just give me a year and I'll do it. And that's the beginning of the crazy
Yes.
ride of trying to stay alive. It's absolutely crazy.
It's a great show.
It is.
I can't wait for the next episode.
Oh, no. You got to wait again.
And so my number 2, and this was a hard one, okay? And number 2 is the Game of Thrones.
Never seen that episode.
Oh my gosh! So I was in Afghanistan and I came back and my wife said, "You need to watch this. I've read the books. It's a great show." So I watched the whole 90% of the first episode, and I looked at my wife, go, "Jenny," I said, "I can't get into this. There's so many wild names that I can't even relate to those type of names." And I said, "I can't follow this." And then all of a sudden, the last 5 minutes of the first episode happened, and I'm completely freaking hooked. And I'm like, no, they didn't just do that. And then I'm like, oh my God, I was so mad when I saw that last 5 minutes of that first episode. I was furious. I was like, okay, put the next one on. We're watching this now. They got to go kick their, So, I mean, it's a great show. And it's probably the best series that I've seen. Is they just did it very well as far as character building. And, sometimes you like them, sometimes you hate them.
Yeah.
It's just phenomenal. So,
Well, speaking of character builder, I mean, my number 2 is The Sopranos. It was so hard for me not to have it number 1, but you'll know why. But the way they build up the characters and bring them in and then whack them off are just great. Richie Perillo, I mean, look at this. You got Dr. Melvey when he was going to psychiatrist, Johnny Sack when they had the issue with the dude said a joke about how big his wife was.
Yes.
You got Paulie always trying to keep everybody in line, even Chrissy. And Chris is probably my favorite outside of Tony on the show because Chris is a firecracker. But The Sopranos to me, just last week I was on my phone on YouTube watching some of the scenes of some of the funny scenes of Sopranos, and I don't know if can I say the word on? Okay, the P word.
Yeah.
When they had to whack him on the boat.
Yes.
Tony comes down because he'd been talking to the feds.
Yeah.
And Pussy says, before this happened, he didn't say before you do it, but y'all got any tequila? And they take a couple shots. They're talking about this time that they were in Mexico and this girl, whatever. And he says, Tony, just not in the face.
Yeah.
Just not in the face. And the first thing I thought, dude, you're on a boat. They're about to throw you overboard anyway. It's not even going to matter.
Yeah.
And then him and Polly pop him and they roll him over the side of the boat. It was terrible because that was one of their buddies, but hey, it had to happen. But The Sopranos, number 2.
Well, I will say, I love that part. And that's where Tony looked at him in one part in there and he goes, You know how bad that makes me
Yes.
feel? And I'm sorry, Tony. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Tony. I don't mean to make you feel bad. Not that he's going to die. I just don't want to make him feel bad. And then the other thing about what you said in there about how they're drinking the tequila
Yeah.
is that's what my wife got me hooked on the Vikings. She goes, they go drink together. They go pat each other on the back. They go kill each other. And the ones that live, they go back and drink again.
Oh, my goodness.
And I'm like, yeah. I said, it's hilarious. So I got to say a couple honorable mentions here because there were some that just growing when the wife and I whenever we're bored and we can't find anything on TV, we watch Everybody Loves Raymond or we watch MASH. You know, I can wake up every morning and watch the Andy Griffith Show. I can tell you that now. I used to be involved in the Walking Dead. I really liked it. And I'm not a zombie guy, but it's about survival and it is a very good series. I kind of got away from it. The Ranch that got Sam Elliott and Ashton Kutcher in it. That's a pretty good
haven't
show.
watched that.
It's funny. It's a little off. And then there's another series that I really like right now. I like your Ozarks. I love that.
Yeah.
Is Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. I
That's
haven't
really
seen. I hear
good.
it's great.
It is phenomenal. But my all-time favorite, hands down, it only lasted 10 parts to it, is The Band of Brothers because it just follows a unit through one point to the end of war. It follows mainly the lieutenant as he progressed through the ranks. And it's just a phenomenal show. And if you haven't ever seen it, man, I need to kick you in the stomach because you need to go watch this, man. So anyway, that's just
Wow.
me.
All right, my number one is going to a little bit of a curveball because we're talking about a lot of ones that are more recent, except for MASH. Seinfeld.
Oh,
Number one for me is Seinfeld. To me, it's hilarious the way they
Yeah.
tied in the things that were going on in the day, the humor. Kramer busting the door, George never can't do anything right. Elaine is nuts. But George's father is probably the funniest one to me. But the way they did the JFK assassinate, the spit, the magic bullet theory became the magic spitting theory. And they had the spit and they showed how it hit and the head went back into the left, back into the left.
Oh,
but
man.
Seinfeld, last week Lynn and I were watching some bloopers, Seinfeld bloopers. But I remember when Seinfeld was on, it was something I always wanted to catch, something I always wanted to watch. And I think for me, the best TV series has always been Seinfeld.
cool. I think that's a good wrap there. We want to know what yours are.
Yes.
We definitely want to know what yours are. And, as a soldier, whenever we had downtime, like in Kuwait or not doing a hard mission when you're deployed, we blow through these series like it's, like it's nobody's business. So,
Oh, yeah.
we do that binge watching thing for sure. So what do you got, Coach?
That's it. I like this. I mean, there's so much now things done on technology and it's in front of you with
Yeah.
your, Facebook, social media, whatever. But still, it's good sometimes when you get into a series. It's like, you get home from work, like, hey, how many can we watch tonight?
Yes.
That type of thing. So
Yeah, I got a good friend right now that he's watching the Game of
Binge
Thrones.
watching.
He is.
That's
He
it.
is watching at least 3 a night the Game of Thrones. He's almost done. He goes, man, I did not realize it was all that. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. So anyway, well, hey, from the coach,
to the vet.
stay tuned.